So everyone tells you the same thing about Universal. Get there early, rope drop the biggest ride, run straight in and beat the queues. And yeah, that sometimes works. But here's the part that people don't tell you. Rope drop at Universal is not automatically the smartest strategy. And if you do it wrong, you may waste one of the best parts of your morning without even realising it. Welcome to D&D Travel, the crazy travel channel where we figure this stuff out properly so you don't have to. Because clearly we've done it before and clearly we've made the mistakes. Now, what people picture is the magic plan. When they get in early, walk straight on the biggest ride and suddenly you're ahead in the whole day. But in reality, half the park has the exact same idea. And that changes everything. Now, don't get me wrong, rope drop does work, but only when it's used properly. And that's where people get caught out because they didn't realise that Universal isn't a one strategy fits all park. Crowd flows matter, ride choice matters, time of the year matters, and whether you're staying on site matters, and whether you've got express pass matters. So when people say, just rope drop our grids, or just rope drop Velocicoaster, that makes it sound really simple, but it's not. Here's what actually goes wrong. The biggest mistakes that people make is assuming the biggest ride is always the best first move. And it sounds logical, but big ride equals big queue, so get there first. But that is the problem. That ride is obvious and everyone knows it. So what happens, the second the gates open, hundreds of people move at the same direction at the same time, some running, some walking. And instead of skipping the queue, you're just joining the queue earlier in the day. And that's a massive difference because while everyone's running to one ride, the rest of the park is quieter than it would be all day. And that's the part people miss. If you spend your first hour waiting for one ride, what are you not doing? You could be walking onto 2 or 3 other rides, getting photos without crowds, actually enjoying the park before it gets hectic. Instead, you stood in a queue. And at Universal, the first hour sets the tone because these parks are intense. They're busy, they're hot, they're loud, and they're full on. So if you start your day stressed, you usually stay stressed. Instead of automatically heading for the biggest ride, look at where everybody else is going and then do the exact opposite. Because hundreds of people pile in one queue. Other rides are particularly walk-ons. And that's where you win time. Not by racing the crowd, but by avoiding it. Now, if you're staying on site, this is where rope drop actually works. Because now you've got an advantage. You're ahead of the big chunk of crowd. And that's where targeting the major rides makes sense. But if you don't have early entry and you're not starting ahead, you're starting with everyone else, that changes the whole strategy. This is the big one. Don't walk into Universal with one plan. Have plan A, plan B and plan C. So plan A is your ideal start. Plan B if it's too busy, and plan C if something breaks down or is delayed. Because if your whole morning depends on one ride and that ride goes down, you've just lost your momentum. And people who do Universal well aren't the fastest. They are the most flexible. Instead of asking where I should go first, ask where everybody else is going. Because the crowd moves in waves. Where there's a wave, there's always a gap somewhere else. And that gap is your opportunity. Now, this is where people burn themselves out. They try to make every second perfect. Every move planned, every ride timed. And it ends up feeling like work. If you've got multiple days, you don't need to win everything in the first hour. Sometimes the smartest move is to ease into the day, get a few easy wins and build momentum instead of chasing that one big perfect start. Not every trip is the same. You've got one day, no express pass, must do rides, and then, hello. And then you need a sharper plan. But if you've got multiple days, an express pass, kids or mixed group, then your strategy should be different. And this is where most advice online falls apart because it treats everybody the same. For me, this was one of the biggest things that we learned. At first, we thought fast meant smarter. Believe me, that is the biggest crock of shit you're ever going to hear. Get in early, move quickly, do the biggest rides first. But in all honesty, some of our best park mornings have come from doing the exact opposite. slowing down, avoiding the obvious move, and choosing what actually gives us the best day, not just the fastest start. Because Universal isn't just about how much you do, it's about how the day feels. And if you get the first hour right, everything else becomes easier. For us, everybody was running for Hagrid's. We went for Velocicoaster. And this is how quiet it was when over at Velocicoaster when Hagrid's had already hit 120 minutes. Deanne and Nathan rode Velocicoaster twice. They came off, they went straight back on, they came off. Absolutely perfect. Because we went for Velocicoaster instead of following the crowd. So if you're planning your Universal trip, don't just hit rope drop and think that's the answer, because it's not. The real trick is knowing when it works and when there's a smarter move. Save this before you go, because this is exactly the kind of mistake people don't realise they're making until it's too late. Believe me, we know. And if you want more real tips, real experience, and what actually works, and what works for us, then subscribe to D&D. Have a great day. We'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.